everyone, Vincenzo Calla here with VCalla Productions. Today I'm sitting here with the Honourable Stephen Lecce, who is the MPP for King Vaughan, and the Ontario Minister of Education. Thanks, Stephen, for your time, and welcome to the VCalla Show.
Thank you. It's been a year of us talking about it. I'm actually really stoked to be with you today, Vincenzo. So thank you.
Well, it's so great to have you here today, and let's get this interview started. So, first off, I want to ask you, what has it been like to serve as Education Minister since 2019?
It's been almost 4 years now, and it's been an amazing experience. I think people often lean into the negative about some of the roles of public leadership, but I believe in the reforms we're undertaking. I believe in the mission we're on to lift the standards and ambitions, to elevate the focus on academic achievement, and to put students at the driver's seat of our education system. So yes, I mean, it has to be a labor of love. It can be difficult, but I've always believed as a generational leader that there's incredible promise from doing the right thing, even if it is difficult. And I think leadership is fundamentally about standing up for one's convictions. I mean, I was raised in a political world to learn to not go along to get along, but to be principled, to defend the rights of children against often, loud voices in a space that had a lot of power. And I believe power needs to be returned to the people, to students, to taxpayers and parents. And our premier and our government is committed to doing that. So it's been an amazing experience. Serving 2 million young people is very inspiring because you get to learn about the people behind that number, the stories, and the incredible work that we can do in our publicly funded schools. So I'm loving it. I'm going to keep going and, of course, continue to stand up for the rights of kids.
And now I want to talk a bit about the accomplishments you've had in this portfolio. It's been a very hectic 4 years. You started before COVID. We were in a pandemic for 3 of those years, and now we're out of the pandemic, and a lot has
Right.
changed in these years. So what have been some of your favorite accomplishments as the education minister since 2019?
Yeah, I mean, it's a continuous work in progress when it comes to reforming and modernizing an education system that really hasn't been substantively reformed for a generation. I mean, the Education Act hasn't been reviewed in 25 years. And some would argue that our agrarian system of education has been reviewed in a century. So we are modernizing it by forcing upon change in a system that often opposes any form of challenge function mentality. Often change is difficult, but is necessary, and political leaders need to have the courage to drive it forward. And I think one of the biggest reforms we implemented was the elimination of Regulation 274, the regressive seniority regulation, where Premier Wynne hired new staff, new educators, and promoted educators based on their seniority in a union, not based on their qualification, competence, or experience. And I think that is antithetical. It is so contrary to the aim of merit, to a meritocracy where the best person gets the job. I believe as a progressive conservative, I believe parents believe as taxpayers and family people that, they want the best teacher to rise to the top, irrespective of how many years they've been in a union. So we've changed the qualification standards. We have overhauled the Education Act, the Better Schools and Student Outcomes Act, a significant reform. It's going to ensure accountability. It's going to empower parent voices. And I think fundamentally, it's going to emphasize academic achievement. If that bill passes, I believe it's going to make an immeasurable difference as we go back to basics. We have modernized the entire curriculum, the entire math curriculum, grade 1 to 9, the entire science curriculum. I just announced the entire technological education curriculum being updated. We just announced a new civics curriculum, a new careers curriculum, a new social studies curriculum. We did a health and physical education curriculum in 2019. In every example, we have pioneered to be the most comprehensive, globally leading type of curricula that actually is aligned with the labor market, so that when a young person graduates, they actually have Vincenzo skills they can monetize, they can use in their lives and in their jobs that gives them a sense of dignity and opportunity. And I think finally, as we have changed the game on the skilled trades in our school system, creating it many more access, making it much more accessible for young people when it comes to accessing skilled trades and technological jobs. My mission is to ensure young people graduate with a competitive advantage. And when we ensure that every student finally learns how to code, starting in grade 1, when we've mandated financial literacy in every single grade, when we've emphasized skills that the former liberals ignored for a decade plus, when the math curriculum was 15 years old, the science curriculum was more than a decade old because the former liberals, they just didn't care about modernizing and overhauling curriculum. They didn't have a labor market a focus on it. It set kids back. So we have a lot of work to do to clean up that mess, but we're also looking forward and we're planning for the future. And we're really going where the puck is when it comes to the future of jobs and the opportunities that arise within a very disrupted global economy. And I want young people in this province to be global leaders. And I believe they can be. I believe in them. I just think our education system needs to be better, frankly, to match the competence and the ability of the millions of young people in Ontario that frankly inspire the Premier, inspire me, inspire our whole team every single day. So we've done a lot. We reformed the Ontario College of Teachers. I'll stop with this item, Vincenzo. Zero tolerance when it comes to individuals, educators, or staff in school that commit serious crimes against students or children. I took a zero tolerance. I overhauled the College of Teachers. This is the regulator for teachers. It used to have a majority of the discipline committee was teachers, disciplining teachers. No professional regulator has the profession having a majority of the votes on those committees. So I balanced them out. I have a public interest, 50% now. We've strengthened the power of parents in the college. And if you're now convicted of a serious offense like a sexual crime against a child, for example, you will now, under our plan, the initiative I brought forth on behalf of the government, zero tolerance. You're on a lifetime ban. Your name will be posted on a public website. You'll never be able to teach in the province of Ontario. And every educator this past September now took, because of our action, mandatory sexual assault prevention training, the first in Canada to do that. So, safer schools, that's the aim. Modern curriculum, more focus on reading and mathematical competence, and as I say, higher standards and more accountability for better staff, better quality learning, and frankly, better outcomes. And there's more to do. The Premier keeps me busy. I assure you, Vincenzo, I got many more things to do, and we're just getting started.
So let's talk about that. What do you hope to continue doing in the next little while to continue improving education, and what are some of the issues you want to focus on as the minister now?
The biggest issue has to be improving academic achievement. I mean, look, we've got very bright young people in Ontario. I'm proud of all of them. Really exceptional, smart, ambitious. We want them to be emotionally intelligent, technologically savvy, globally minded, patriotic, hardworking, disciplined leaders of the country, the next generation. I believe in them. But our system of education was failing many of these kids. When the majority of young people in grade 9 were not meeting the provincial math standard in mathematics, when most kids in grade 3 and 6 were not, we're barely meeting the provincial reading and writing standards. When Dyslexia Canada says that a third of kids will graduate high school with their diploma, but they're not going to be at their reading level for their age, it's an indictment, I think, on the lack of emphasis, or it's a confirmation of the lack of emphasis on academic achievement. So the big priority going forward is through the Better Schools and Student Outcomes Act. What it the vision is to ensure school boards are more accountable to parents and are more focused on academic achievement, lifting reading, writing, and math standards and scores, and of course, emphasizing STEM education. We want to see more science, more technology, more engineering and math. We want to see more of that emphasis in the classroom. That's the biggest priority for me. We're doing a lot of good. One of the other areas that we've really made a difference in, going back to the other question, but it intersects with the future and the past. What have we done? Some of our achievements and what are we going to continue to do is strengthen mental health. And a colleague of mine, Natalie Pierre, a wonderful person, a mother and a member from Burlington, faced some very, just some incredible difficulty in her life. And here's a person, we work together to channel that sadness and that tragedy into a legacy for her son and for others. We have increased funding under our Premier's leadership. And, as Minister of Education, I have helped usher in a 550% net increase in mental health funding. And I'll tell you, Vincenzo, that is a great achievement, because I think for you and I, we know that there are needs in our schools. There are some young people who need to turn to someone they can trust. And sometimes, with mental health struggles rising, I want them to know that it's our party and our government that has that compassionate, conservative commitment, that we care about them, we believe in them, and we will get them the services they deserve in their communities in English or French, in the most remote parts of Ontario, the most urban centers of Toronto, to the villages of Kenora and everything in between. The message is simple: you're not alone. You are supported. We are there for you. We just increased another 23% increase this year from last year. The former Liberals spent 18 million in mental health in schools. We're at 115 million dollars, and we're going to go more. We're going to add another 14 million next year. We're going to add 16 million the year after that. That's how we can make a difference. And to your point, continued priorities going forward, it's a strengthen mental health literacy and funding. And because of Natalie Pierre, we've now implemented mandatory learning for grades 7, 8, and 10 on mental health literacy, the most comprehensive approach in the nation, as well as more funding. So these are all things that are important to me, and I assure you they're important to parents. And job number one is increasing the emphasis and the focus on academic achievement. That's why we brought in the bill in the first place, to sort of focus these school boards on what actually matters to parents, what's going to matter to the success of their children. So lots of work ahead.
It's really important. I mean, mental health is something that I find very important. It's something I've been putting a focus on over the past few weeks, few months, and I just graduated high school last year. I just finished first year university, but I know that the importance of being in a school and how that helps with mental health, and it's super important. And this is my final question. We have time for one more question. I see this every day or every week, because last year when I was in high school, I did the co-op program in our school, which was a fantastic program, and I went to an elementary school, and I continue to go to the elementary school because teaching is the path I sort of hope to take. And I want to know, what can you tell me? What can you tell people? Because there's a lot of people that sort of don't see teaching as a profession they want to get into because they're afraid of sort of what can it give to me? What are sort of the issues that we're seeing? And I want to know, what sort of things do you think your government can put forward to show that young people like myself who are considering going into teaching, that Ontario is the place to be as a teacher?
It is the place to be. It's an amazing place. We have the largest school system in the country, 2 million children. We have the most comprehensive, modern, leading edge curriculum, and we're building new schools in the province, state-of-the-art schools that are ready to help nurture in STEM education and really help support the jobs of tomorrow. Here's what we can do. First, in the new bill, these Better Schools and Student Outcomes Act, I have committed to reduce the processing time to become a new educator by 50%. So that the College of Teachers has less than literally 50% fewer days or more in order to process you, because I think it takes too long in Ontario. I don't like or prospective educators having to wait to get in the classroom. We need you yesterday. So we're going to make it much more efficient and cut the red tape and the bureaucracy. The second thing is what we're doing is we're making sure our curriculum is relevant. It's reflective of the changing society and economy around us. That's important, that you feel like you're not teaching a stale curriculum, but something that actually is futuristic, that's ambitious, that's aspirational, that appeals to people's, their greatest aims and motivates them to succeed. We are also we've announced $15 billion, $14 billion over the next decade to build modern schools. I mentioned this: internet connected, accessible, the most state-of-the-art ventilation, and a great deal of emphasis on STEM learning. So you have a lot of science labs and other spaces for technology. The other element that I think is really powerful is one person. In not many enterprises you can say this, but in one person, an educator could have a lifetime of an impact. We know through the research the quality of the teacher makes a difference. It actually is one of the most profound indicators of success of a child in graduation. You, whoever you are behind the screen watching today, be it Vincenzo or someone else, you can literally get into a class with a group of students and be their greatest champion, an ambassador of their cause, and give them a path to a purposeful, meaningful life of dignity. There are few careers that can bring that sense of satisfaction, knowing that you are literally impacting the next generation. It's an honorable career, and it can be, I think, very rewarding. So if you love learning, you enjoy working with young people, you support helping the next generation succeed, then this is a job for you. And we've got great faculties of education across Ontario, wonderful bachelors of education programs, and we need you. We have a shortage across the country of teachers in specific areas: French, technology, skilled trades, but it's increasing even beyond that. So 5 years ago, if you asked me, some teachers, if you were a prospective teacher, I'd say you may have to wait a couple of years. You'd have a job, but more, filling in absences and more part-time work. It's amazing how many young people are quickly moving into full-time careers because of some of the shortages, as some of the baby boomers exit the workforce and other things like that. So it's the highest paid in Canada. We compensate accordingly because we want to attract and retain talent. Of course, the best pensions and benefits. So there's a good package there. But I think beyond the money, it's about loving kids, loving learning, and wanting to make a difference. And I think that's what teachers get into it for anyway. My aunts are educators, and I assure you, they got into it because they want to make a difference. And I think getting to know you a bit, Vincenzo, I know you're passionate about it, and I think that's the currency that matters most, is the desire to make an impact, leave a legacy. So if you're interested in this, please consider it. Talk to an educator, visit a faculty, and know that you can literally change the course of someone's history by really stepping up. And so I hope you will. And frankly, Vincenzo, if I'm still the Minister of Education, I hope I can sign. It'd be my great honor to sign. I'll have to get Jill Dunlop, the Minister of Colleges and Universities, to add an extra line for me because it's her ministry. But it'd be my honor to sign your certificate with her. And I wish you and everyone who's interested, both as students or as prospective teachers, I wish you well as we go towards June. We're going to have graduations. It's going to be awesome. And I'm really proud of students this year. You've done exceptional. We're getting through this. We're sticking together as a province. Our premier's demonstrated leadership that we haven't seen in Ontario, unifying leadership when it comes to standing up for issues of safety, bail reform, opposing carbon taxation, of insisting upon economic growth, of attracting foreign investments. I mean, the largest, literally, auto investment in the history of Canada is happening right now for young people in communities around the GTHA or other areas. The largest transit investment, biggest subway expansion in Canadian history. I mean, these things don't happen by coincidence. They happen because of good government working for the public interest to make life affordable, and to really be on the side of working people and get off the backs of moms and dads and taxpayers and seniors and young people. So it's a privilege to serve. And frankly, I'm looking forward to younger people like you getting in this place to continue to drive change.
Well, it's great to hear that, and it was wonderful to have you on here today, Stephen. I know it's been a very jam-packed and busy day for you, and I'm glad we're able to get this done. So thank you for joining me. It was fantastic to have you.
Listen, do you know the name Walter Cronkite? You're a famous interviewer.
Yeah, I've heard.
He's got nothing on you, Vincenzo. Okay, yeah. So if teaching doesn't fail, I'm sure I'll see you on CP24 or Global News one day. But listen, thank you for what you do, and good luck to all the young people out there. You're almost at June. Keep going, guys. Very, very proud of you.
Well, thank you so much, and the VCalla Show is a VCalla production. So until the next video, I'm Vincenzo Calla, signing out.